I want to share something really important. My name is Dr. Michael Gross, author of The Spiritual Primer and soon to be the Manifestation Prophecies. And tonight's message is called Acceptance. And it's really important for us to understand about acceptance. And I want to address by starting to say there is no such thing as failure unless it's accepted. And thinking about that failure unless it's accepted, everything in your life is a learning experience, right? You know, there are certain foods you eat, you like certain foods you don't like, you don't eat them. It's very simple. And if we understand everything is an experience, when something doesn't work out in your life, think about, I've learned a lesson, what works and doesn't work. I'm not a failure. Nope, I learned something new. You know, almost every self-made millionaire has gone bankrupt once. They learned, and they became multimillionaires again. Something for us to remember. And understanding what a failure is nothing but an experience for you to understand what applies in your life. And there's a thing called timing. And perhaps you might try something now, and it fails. In other words, it didn't work. And then you go ahead, and maybe you learned a better way to improve it, and then 10 years later or a certain time later, you do it again and it finally worked. It worked because you learned what didn't work, which we term as failure. And that's what we need to understand as acceptance in our life. Now, there are so many people out there that will judge us, and judging us that you're a success or you're not a success, or you're this or you're that, whatever it may be. And too often, we compare ourselves to others. And that's the worst thing we can ever do. Because you are unique. You are special in your own way. You all have wonderful gifts. You have gifts of healing, of teaching, of sharing information, of bringing up families, of compassion and love. All of you have all those gifts. It's innate. It's within you. And what happens is we get stuck in the minutiae of life and all the opinions of others. And what's happened is we forget who we are, what we are, and why we're here. I understand in school they're teaching all kinds of things now, gender neutral and all this stuff. And we've forgotten that, I'm not going to give a big tirade on gender neutral, what they're pushing right now. But I will say this. If your genes are a male or female, you chose that for a specific reason, whatever that reason may be. And you chose to experience it. And that doesn't preclude that whether you're gay or not, or you become a transsexual or whatever it is, but you chose that for your life to empower you about self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. And then whatever you do with it, that could be your karma to learn, and you choose a certain type of lifestyle. So it's important that we don't judge the lifestyle, but merely accept that's what we came here to learn, and we're growing and we're experiencing. Because you are here to experience everything in your life. And we are not to judge others as whether it's right or wrong for them. The only one we can judge is for ourselves. Is it right or wrong for me? And everybody else is on their own mission, their own goals, learning their own things. But never, never look at yourself as a failure. When I was growing up, there were kids that were great athletes. I was mediocre. There were others that were great in science. I excelled in science. I excelled in history. English literature, something else to be desired. However, because now I wrote a book, and I'm writing more books, I'm learning more about English literature. Though when I was not successful in English literature, which I thought I failed at, I really didn't fail. The timing wasn't right for me. There were so many things I had to learn that which was much more important. That's a very, very, very important for us to think about. Because what is important in your life is every experience is never, ever a failure. It's always a learning lessons. And we're learning all the time. And just look, 20 years ago, many of us were around, computers weren't so big. And computers were rather rudimentary. And now, they got what I call voice recognition. I can talk into it. It'll type everything I want to have done. I can research on Google. I can talk to people on Zoom. All the things have changed. And 10 years from now, even those things are going to change. And it isn't that like Zoom will become a failure if it ever does. It's like technology and things grow and move forward. And that's what you have to look at your life. It's not that you're a failure. It's that you're growing forward and you're learning more and you're becoming more enlightened. And with knowledge comes power. With power becomes love and joy and grace. And the reason I say that knowledge becomes power, joy, and grace is it gives you the opportunity to create in your life what brings and fulfills your life with happiness, love, joy, prosperity, abundance, whatever it is, whatever you so desire. But the bottom line is we're all here to experience spirituality at another level. And the reason I say that is when you are in your soul body, you are just surrounded by love, unconditional love. Everything is wonderful, and it's such a great feeling. It can't be described. But then when you take on an embodiment, then you're immersing yourself in all kinds of different emotions, anger, fear, doubt, insecurity, and that old word again, failure. Therefore, I'd like all of you to look upon your life. You have failed at nothing. You have learned what works and doesn't work. And you have learned maybe you don't need to listen to someone. Maybe you need to listen to your true inner voice, what I call true inner source guidance. Just think, remember I told some of you that in the beginning of 1900, they worried if they would have enough horses for the growing population in 1900. Wow, we have a lot of horses, but we sure got a lot of cars. And then from cars, we're going to electric vehicles. And then we're going to have hydrogen-powered vehicles. Then we're going to have vehicles that are running on electromagnetic energy. That's a long story unto itself. And everything is changing, so there's no failure. There's just an experience. And I would like all of you, as I'm speaking to you, and you listen to this again, which I hope you will, to look at your life that you failed at nothing. You learned. You learned, you learned, you learned, and you learn what works and doesn't work. That's what we're here for, to experience the wind, the air, hot, cold, love, joy, happiness, anger, frustration. And we're here to learn about self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. The only obstacle you have in your life is you and your belief system. The only success you have in your life is your belief system. Whoa, there's something kind of interesting. In other words, your belief system is creating your life. Remember, what you think you create, what you create you experience. And I've repeated that several times because this is a call right now. This is a call to awaken from your deep slumber. This is a call to realize that no one is in command of your life than you are. Yes, there are rules and regulations, but basically you are in control. You are the one that's creating your life. You are the one that's growing and moving forward. You are the one that's creating the epitaph for your life. You are the one that's influencing everyone, not so much by your words, which can be, but by your actions. You know the old cliche, not by your words, but by your actions shall you be known. So I'm encouraging every one of you to become the role model, to have everyone come to you one day and say, what's your secret? Why are you so happy? Why are you so successful? One of the answers can be, I realize there's no such thing as failure in my life. I'm just learning what works and doesn't work.